Yes, I mean, I always wanted to be an international singer myself, but it wasn't when I set out with the group. We all really went on a holiday. We went to England for a 10-week turnaround trip on a boat, and we didn't really think, oh, well, you know, we're going to set the world alight and try and crack the pop charts. In fact, the pop charts was probably the furthest thing from any of our minds, including my own, because you just didn't try to do that with a folk-based quartet. You know, everybody was more poppy and had the long hair and the electric instruments were coming in. So really that was the big surprise to us and the world, the fact that suddenly our record had gone to #1, and it opened the way then for a lot of Australian artists to actually go overseas and literally set off with a purpose to try and conquer the pop market.
We were also fortunate enough to become involved in a regular television national program called the Ronnie Carroll Show. Now that was a big program of its time, and even then I think they probably would have had viewing audiences well over 10 million, wouldn't they, at the time? So people got used to seeing us every week over that 13-week period, and we believe that it was television that actually broke the group over there, because when the first records eventually came out, people knew us. You know, they knew our faces and the style of music.
When I'll Never Find Another You reached #1, we were just ecstatic. It took everyone by surprise.
Yes, I remember we were celebrated in a bar in Regent Street called Verries, which was near our agent's office, and I remember someone bringing the chart out and showing us. It was quite a monumental achievement when we think about it now, because this was the first Australian group to ever do this.
Georgie Girl actually reached #1 on the American charts. It was the first time an Australian group had ever really cracked it. And that was a big turning point for us here in Australia, because suddenly Sydney saw us not just as a Melbourne group, but truly as an international Australian group, you know. But we didn't really get over there much. We did the Ed Sullivan Show. We did a couple of those afternoon shows, and we toured once.
One in Philadelphia, the
yes, Mike Douglas show.
Mike Douglas show.
But I mean, we really should have been touring constantly from the moment Georgie Girl hit, because after all, it had been nominated for an Oscar. We didn't get there for the Oscars, so we really missed out on major exposure that way. And it was only about 6-8 months after we'd had New Georgie Girl #1 that we finally got over there to tour, a college tour. But it still wasn't really reaching the public the way it should have done to sort of perpetuate the group in front of the public like that.
After the initial success of Another You, Tom was under pressure to come up with more songs, and he did. A World of Our Own, when we heard that, was more instantly recognisable to us as a style, I think, after the first song. But prior to that, we had no preconceived ideas about what that style would be. And then really that cemented it. But the interesting one was, out of left field, was The Carnival Is Over, which certainly wasn't in any way poppy. It was a true ballad and very distinctive sound, and probably the most successful selling single in England. In fact, we remember, don't we, that it sold in one day 90,000 units of a single. I mean, that would have to be still close to a record there today.